This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario. Hi everyone, it is Rebecca, and welcome to our first Hidden Gems episode of 2026. This is a special feature we offer in which we invite guests to recommend authors or titles that may be new to us, because we all want to add to our TBRs, of course. And so today's guest is author Garnett Kilberg Cohen. Welcome, Garnett.
Hi, it's so nice to see you again, Rebecca.
Same here. I have no, it's okay. They all know that we can see each other, but
Okay.
only the audio goes up. Yeah. But I should say welcome back, Garnett, because we have had you on before. But let me go ahead through your bio and then we'll jump into this. Garnett is the author of 4 short story collections: Cravings, Lost Women, Banished Souls, How We Move the Air, and Swarm to Glory. Her chapbook, Passion Tour, was published by Finishing Line Press. Her writing has appeared in The New Yorker Online, Rumpus, the Gettysburg Review, Witness, the Literary Review, StoryQuarterly, the Antioch Review, and elsewhere. I invite you to listen to my interview with Garnett on February 13th, 2024, which I will add to the show notes, because I talked to her about her amazing collection of short stories in Cravings. And this is a book that Tara and I both read, absolutely loved, and highly recommend. So if you are somebody who loves short stories, grab a copy. And if you are wanting to get into short stories, it is a great introduction because every story is as strong as the one that precedes it. So anyway, officially welcome back to the podcast, Garnett.
Thank you. And I'm delighted to be here. And thank you for your comments again on my most recent book, Cravings. So this was so much fun thinking of books that maybe others hadn't heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Although and what I decided to do was pick, I think I have 6 books here,
Okay.
books that have been published in the last 2 or 3 years and that are different genres. The first book is called Registry of Forgotten Objects, and that's a collection of short stories. And it's linked short stories. And if you're familiar with linked stories, I'm sure you are, but maybe your audience isn't all familiar with linked stories. An example would be Olive Kitteridge, and another example would be Visit from the Goon Squad. And in those stories, they can link stories. The story can stand completely on its own. You don't have to have read the stories that come before it or after it, but it just has so much more meaning and richness if you read them all together. It's like knowing someone and thinking you know everything about them, and then someone else telling you, did you know that she was married before, or she has a degree in this but she's never practiced it. So it's probably my favorite form. I've written one book of linked stories, a very short one, but hope to do another one at some point. But this book by Miles Harvey, The Registry of Forgotten Objects Stories, is different because it's almost a mystery. It's not obvious that the stories are linked. The first time I read it, I was reading it and I read a story, then I read another story, and then maybe another, and I thought, wait a minute, didn't this object appear in another story? And then I started paying closer attention, and it was really fun because it was like a treasure hunt or something, finding how he connected the objects. Plus, on top of that, he just is a beautiful prose writer. He writes really lovely prose. All right, so the next book I'm thinking I have on my list is a novel because, as I said, I'm trying to have different genres.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is called Down the Steep, and it's by A.D. Nauman. but I believe her first name is April. But this book, Down the Steep, published by Regal House Publishing, it's like if you took To Kill a Mockingbird and turned it inside out and flipped it over. It's a young girl in the South, and there's a big twist. There's a young girl in the South who really admires her father, who's a teacher, a high school teacher, and, civic leader in the community. And this is where it gets really scary. You get a little ways into the book, and the girl's mother is ironing, and you figure out, might be a bit of a spoiler, but not too much because it's still in the beginning of the book. You figure out what she is ironing is a hood, and her husband's in the Ku Klux Klan.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
so the journey that she goes through is discovering her dad's a bad guy, a really bad guy. And it's terrifying, but
Yeah.
it is in so many ways reminds me of To Kill a Mockingbird, because it's a young girl who admires her father and has racial issues and everything. It was a wonderful read with a lot of action toward the end of the book. Not a lot in
Mhm.
the beginning, but toward the end of the book. And she's, again, a wonderful writer. I wouldn't
Wow.
mention any of these people
Yeah.
unless they were wonderful writers. And it's suspenseful. The next book I'm going to talk about just a little bit is called The Adventures of Cancer Bitch by S.L. Weisenberg. It was originally published by Iowa and was reissued, I think, last year by Tortoise Books, which allows it to be in my category of the last 3 years or so.
Mhm.
And it's a wonderful book. S.L. Weisenberg is a friend of mine, and I mentioned once in the book, it's a collection of linked personal essays about her journey with cancer.
Ooh.
And it's so interesting because many of the essays are really short, a page or less. And it's also funny. I think if she had breast cancer. I think if you are experiencing breast cancer or have a friend or a family member who's experiencing it, it would be a really good book to read because there's funny and joyful moments in it. And because in the end, SL, whose real name is Sandy, survives and is doing really well. But
Mhm.
she just has sort of a quirky sense of humor,
Mhm.
and where she talks about things like the pink M&Ms that were put out to help fight breast cancer, things like that.
Yeah.
And another one to move into another genre is French Girl by Jessie Lee Kercheval. And it's published by Field Mouse Press. And it's a graphic memoir. And I have liked some graphic memoirs. I particularly liked Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. There are some I've really liked, but I'm not a big graphic memoir or novel person. But this one, it's about Jessie coming from France, where she lived as a young girl, although she was from an American family, coming from France to live in the United States, Florida first. And the graphics are so beautiful. The story is really interesting. And I do like memoirs. I don't read a lot of
Mhm.
graphic ones, but I do like memoirs. And it's just a wonderful story. But the colors are so vibrant that the pages almost look wet. It's interesting. And
Yeah.
as you may or may not have heard of Field Mouse Press, she did end up making it in the Washington Post for this book 10 best graphic memoirs of the year. So in
Wow.
some ways it's not a hidden gem, but
Mhm.
but I bet to a lot of people it still is a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to mention a couple books from the place that published my last book, Cravings. And one that came out is a story collection called You've Told Me Before by Jennifer Ann Moses, Wisconsin University Press. And it's short stories. What I like about this book, there's so much I like about this. One is the language is wonderful. The situations are subtle but complicated. Most of the characters are women, or most of the primary characters, protagonists are women,
Hmm.
and mostly Jewish. And they mostly went to Ivy League schools or really upper crust schools. And I don't read many books where you might have a novel where somebody went to Harvard or something, but this all the women characters went to different places, and they're dealing with lots of dilemmas that show class doesn't stop you from having problems, and
Hmm.
they're often funny books. And then I think the last book I was going to mention, also by University of Wisconsin Press, and it just came out last year, is called Simone in Pieces by Janet Burway. And it's kind of a historical novel. It's about a Belgian orphan who eventually makes it to the United States, and how her life changes, and it's about memory as well. And this book, even though University of Wisconsin Press is very small, it's already gone into second printing. So,
Wow.
which is impressive. I mean, I have two short story collections there because that's my genre, a
Hmm.
collection of linked personal essays, a novel, two novels, because Simone in Pieces and Down the Steep are both novels, and French Girl, a beautiful graphic memoir.
Yeah, I have to say, when you kind of sent me some of the titles you were going to talk about, I looked at French Girl because you also wrote a review, which I
Yes.
am going to actually put in the show notes, but I'm going to tell people because I started to read it and then I went, oh, wait a minute, too much information. So I stopped reading it. But anyway, I bought the book. I'm waiting for it to arrive and then I'm going to read the book and then I'm going to read your review because it actually looked like a really good review as well. I mean, well written review. And I wanted to read that, the details in it. So, I think you did a great job because I'm looking at all of these and I'm not kidding you. Like I'm going to add them to my TBR because each one of them sounds fascinating, and I'm not even going to go through all of them because they all have a really nice. You did a great job explaining them to us because they make me want to read all of them. To be honest with you,
Oh,
so
good, good.
yeah. So I figure if I want to read them, I'm pretty sure everybody out there is going to want to read them as well. And I will say, as much as I'm going to love all of these books, I'm hoping that you have something coming out, and I didn't tell you I was gonna ask you, but do you have anything that's coming out soon or that we can expect in the future?
Well, I have something that is in the works. It's
Okay,
going through the peer review process.
okay.
And I know that there's two peer reviewers, and one of them has recommended it already, but they're waiting to hear from the other one. And it's a memoir and linked essays. And this
Oh,
might be a topic of interest to you. It's based on an essay of mine that appeared, or the title is based on an essay of mine that appeared in Black Warrior Review.
mhm,
And it's about my mother's decline with dementia.
mhm,
And the title essay now, and it could
mhm,
change if it gets published. And the title is now The Flowers Mother Ate, which she actually did in her final days. And
mhm.
I think there's some funny moments in it, but of course, there's a lot of sad and bittersweet moments as well. But I'm working on a number of other things, and I'm working on a novel. I'm always writing short stories. And I'm also working on a memoir about myself. And I've really got to figure out how to balance these things. Now, the collection about my mother is already finished, and I hope it gets published with the press that's looking at it now. But
Mhm.
if it doesn't, it's done, and I'll send it elsewhere.
Yeah.
But the other ones are not ready to send anywhere. But it's exciting to have so many things in the works, but at the same time it's exciting. It's a little daunting. Like,
Yeah.
will I leave this one too long to get back to, or how long will it take me to get back into it?
Well, I know that you retired a few years ago, right? So now do you feel like you're just so much more, well, I'm sure it's obvious that you have more time to do that, to write, but is that really where you're at? You're just like kind of flooded with the ideas and time now?
Yeah, I am. I'm doing a lot of other things as well. Like I've taken several visual drawing classes. As a matter of fact, I had one
Ooh,
today in portrait uh, drawing portraits.
wow.
And I'll text you. You won't see it, listeners, but I'll text you the portrait I did today.
Yeah. I would love to see it.
And I can do travel in the fall and the spring, which before my travel was always limited to summer
Yeah.
when everyone was off. I don't know how, and maybe you've experienced this too. I don't know how I worked and got everything done that I have to get done.
Yeah.
My schedule is so busy. I miss teaching, but not to the degree that I was doing it, which was 2 classes a semester or 3 classes a semester, and all the committee work and everything that went with it. I miss teaching, but not all of that. And I'm friends still with several of my students. As a matter of fact, I'm having breakfast, I guess you would call it, tomorrow with a former grad student who is just getting her first book published. And I've read the book and it's
Yeah.
great. And I thought, oh, can I mention her book? And I thought, well, it hasn't even been published yet. I guess I can't tell people to go out and buy it. But so I am keeping up with a few of my grad students, which is, really, really rewarding and nice. And I might like to teach a workshop again that's 5 weeks long or 3 hours long, but I don't want to get back into 15-week semesters. And
Yeah.
it's so nice at night when I think I'd like to read something or I'd like to watch something on television. And I don't think, oh, but first I have 20 papers to grade, so I can't do it. But no, I'm
Exactly.
enjoying retirement. I am enjoying
Oh. Well, I'm really happy. Well, that makes me happy too because I love that you have more time to write because like I said, I love your writing and and it's kind of funny. Tara and I both we read your book Cravings, I don't even know, maybe a year apart or something. So you have been mentioned so many times. Like you've been mentioned at the best of the best books of the year. You've been mentioned so many times with that book. And so I just hope if anybody out there picked up a copy and read it based on our recommendation, please let us know because I would love to know that every time we talked about it, that somebody else picked up a copy and read it because it's just a wonderful collection. Like I said, every story was really strong. And, sometimes you read a collection and sometimes you go like, well, there was a story or two that I wasn't really crazy about. And that's not true about Cravings. Every one of them was equally strong and we loved them all. So anyway,
Oh, so
Garnet.
thank you so much, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. And I know how much you read and how literary you are. So it means more coming from you than it does from a lot of people. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you. I appreciate it. So anyway, Garnet, when the next book comes out, whatever it is for you, please come back and talk to us again.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you and happy reading, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style, and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.